Hey guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of Yamaha XV500 Coffee Racer build. There seems to be a strange curse probably over that little bike. Every time I got back on the build, I've got an ocean of different projects coming to me all at once. So I can't look at this poor little thing. I can't get it finished. Well, let's hope that's not the case this time. Well, let's hope it is. But at the same time, I really want to get it done. So, got a day off. Let's have some progress. Cheers. Moving on, I've got here pieces of, cable sleeve really, that's what it is. Different thickness, different length, from very skinny to really fat kind of cable sleeve, and it's very elastic, it stretches really nicely, and even the small ones, they stretch really nicely. And the idea is to cover some of the electrical wires, the electrical cables. Some of them are quite old, and I was never a fan of wrapping the whole thing in electrical tape. It just looks shit, and it just, if anything goes wrong, untying this up, unwrapping that cable, leaves that glue, sticky residue, and it gets hard over time. Horrible stuff. Much better option is heat shrink sleeving around it. That's a better option. It's slightly more expensive, and it has a limitation to it. But with this thing, never used it before, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Bought a couple of different lengths, different thicknesses, see what I can do. There we go, I've got two already. I've covered the front brake cable. There's only like two cables, and I covered the kill switch and starter motor kind of right hand side controls, all the cables in here, and obviously the plugs in the end. I just used some electrical tape just to tie up the ends of it. I think that's looking pretty smart. I mean, that's the old one that's coming from the clutch side. Even that's got the original sleeve around it. It's a bit worn, it's a bit oldish looking, and if I can cover that, get this result, I think that's looking really smart. Nicely tied up over here. That will add extra detail to the bike, extra, professional look, if you like it. I'm not sure how practical that's going to be, whether that can be easy to clean. It looks like it because it's synthetic material, it's plastic, so it should be quite easy to clean. It is not waterproof because it's a mesh, but the cables are already protected as they are. This just goes over the top, and I think this looks better than that. Just a little bit more special, just a little bit better. So I'm going to carry on doing this. I'll cover as many cables as I can, and then we'll see what happens. So here we have a prime example of what I said I hate doing. Rear indicators, I had to extend them. They're quite long wires, and the only material I had at the time was the electrical tape, which I really hate doing. It doesn't look great, but at least it's not brown and what I got here, a green cable all the way around. It's making it black. However, after I finish with the other one, it's looking way better. It's the visible part anyway. It's covering that sleeving, which I think it looks really smart. And putting them on is really rather quite simple. I mean, I've got the extra easy job because I've got two thin bullet connectors. But even with the thicker style block connectors, this little thing, even though it's very thin, it stretches like you wouldn't believe. This is, nearly 100% of its capacity is stretched, and it probably is capable of doing more. So it's like a Chinese kind of finger trap, isn't it? The more you pull on it, the more it sticks. But anyway, expand a little bit on the back and just feed the cables through to the point that you can't feed them anymore. But at that stage, what I found is easier part. I mean, over here it kind of gets difficult. So I track it down when it's the end of it, and then just work it back like a kind of snake. And there we go. Once it's in, you just pull it from top to bottom to your desired length, and that's sorted. This part I'm going to cover with a bit of a tape, and I'm going to put a bit of a tape on the end of it here. That's the visible part anyway, don't need any more. Rest of it's stuck under the seat. Beautiful, job done. There we go, easy as 1, 2, 3. These two are done. Again, I have no idea how practical that's going to be in a long term everyday use, but I like the look of it. It really makes it a little bit more smarter and extra 5 points to the overall appearance of the bike, I think. So I think that was a good choice. Cool, rock and roll, let's fit it in. This is the part I'm really glad I took my time before I stripped the bike apart, and then again to label every single connection, every single cable over here, because I know what's what when it comes to electrical mess. If you scroll back through the timeline of this build, there was a few episodes of doing the electrics. I pretty much redone the wiring loom completely, and while I was doing that, I took time to put some labels on it. And I'm really glad I did, because that's making my life so much easier right now. Even though I had this bike apart for, I don't know, a few months, it's different when you take the bike apart one day and next day or same evening you put it back together. You kind of, the memory is fresh, you know what's going where, you know which order it came in, go out, so you put it in reverse order. In my case, I not only took a bike apart, completely repainted, I moved the complete garage, moved the whole garage, moved my whole life in here, and yeah, it's becoming challenging to put it back as it was. As you can see, I'm going back and forth, putting things back not supposed to be there before some other wires need to be routed through, so I'm wasting my time taking it apart and putting it back in. But it's all fine, you know, we get in there. I want to take my time putting this together so it's as tidy and as neat as possible. Because in the end of the day, if the wire's sticking everywhere, you ain't gonna make a nice build, is it? Right, I'm gonna crack on. Surprisingly good progress today. Got most of the parts back on the bike. Wiring loom is mostly in place, obviously. All of the back is reconnected. I need to reconnect everything inside the headlight. I'm waiting for a couple more of them cable sleeves. I run out. They are surprisingly useful. I really like the look of them, as I said before. So I ordered a couple more just to get some extra cables, just to tidy up the look. It's purely cosmetic, nothing else. But I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Yeah, good progress today. Coming back to it as quickly as I can, promise you. Next update on this will be hopefully not another 3 weeks time. Hopefully it's gonna be next week. See what happens. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, have a beer on me, rock hard, and I'll see you very soon.